Welcome back, everybody, to the Fan of the Game basketball podcast. It's good to have you back. It's good to talk basketball. And remember, I love this game, and I know that y'all love this game. So, a lot going around in the NBA. You know, it's coming to that amazing time, the most favorite time in the NBA season, which are the playoffs. So, everybody is winding down on the seedings, on the standings, and it's impressive and it's getting really, really fun. Some sad news, as the NBA has reported throughout the week, is that my favorite point guard, the point guard, in my opinion, Kyrie Irving, has suffered a tear in his ACL. He's assured us that he's going to come back stronger. Hopefully, that is the case. Prayers for Kyrie, the Mavs franchise, the Mavs fans, to Anthony Davis, so that franchise can get back on top and see what we can do. Hopefully, the squad can get into shape. Um, Now, I wanted to show the standings right here. So, to no surprise, Eastern Conference hasn't per se changed that much. Get a quick look at it here. West, where usually all of the hype is starting to take some interesting steam. Of course, Phoenix did win their game last night as of recording this today on Wednesday. And these teams here are in the fight of their lives to see who is going to make the playoffs. Teams that have stood out. Of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder, as I have already mentioned, and as many people have reported, this is the team in the West to beat. Okay, they are proving it every single time. Denver Nuggets still strong, but the Golden State Warriors have been proving a lot, especially since the Jimmy Butler trade, Jimmy Buckets. And of course, the Los Angeles Lakers, where LeBron James, yes, my current and still favorite players, reached the milestone of 50,000 points. And Luka is doing phenomenal, finding his ground. So these are the current standings. Two good teams to watch here. This is going to be a phenomenal series. And then just to see who's going to make it from here. Okay. So speaking on LeBron James on this impressive milestone, there's been talk about being the GOAT of longevity compared to being the GOAT of all time, which is all part of the same acronym, I know. But it got me thinking because there was a conversation last week, and that's been starting to create a new storyline, even though we should be talking more about Steph Curry, and his impressive performances and everything that the Golden State Warriors are doing. The league started to talk about a very interesting conversation about who is going to be the face of the league. That is my question for y'all. That is my question for today's episode. Because this question is both a good one, it's also to me an annoying one. Because we still have LeBron James. We still have Steph Curry. Yes, I know. We're talking about the future. We need to talk about the future so that we can address, you know, how the league is going to look like in, say, 5 to 10 years. So, what is the league going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years? What is the standard? What constitutes face of the league? I have some ideas here, but I wanted you to listen to some names with me. Okay. So, I have here Bill Russell, Jerry West, Dr. J, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Irvin Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. How about a team out there, the Bad Boy Pistons? Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, Vince Carter, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. And here are some other names: Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Carmelo Anthony. When you think of those names, what do you think of? I mean, I know what I think of. This is, most of it is my era of basketball and reminiscing on the greats beforehand. What do you guys think when you hear these names? I think this is where it comes into that conversation about what can constitute the face of the league. So there are two names that I want to pay attention to. They've been throwing around Ant Edwards' name, the Ant Man, Anthony Edwards. Phenomenal, phenomenal basketball player. He's just fun to watch. You've been watching Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves? Fantastic. And the name Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, had an interview a week and a half ago talking about how he might be underappreciated. And I'm not quoting him. I'm quoting the dialogue that's been happening if when the question was asked, is he underappreciated? These are the two names I want to focus on, which we'll get to. So for me, like I said, I think this is an important question because we do have to think about the future. And I also think it's an annoying question because we still have, you know, LeBron James, we still have Steph Curry, we still have Kevin Durant, and we have these amazing, amazing basketball players. One of the questions I've asked myself is, why can't we have faces of the league? The NBA, at least to me, basketball is one of the most beautiful sports, if not the most beautiful sport. And this game is awesome. And there are a lot of people who have made an impact on this game. For example, the two names that I would bring up are Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is one of my favorite players, and Nikola Jokic. Look at where they come from, look at how they got to the league, and look at what they've done in the space of 10 plus years. And I understand that's a really long time, and that could be part of what we're talking about. Giannis is 30 years old. Jokic is 30 years old. Look at both of their resumes. Each of them, yes, have a NBA championship. Jokic, arguably one of the best players in the world right now, has 3 MVPs, to my understanding. Giannis Antetokounmpo, look, he has 2 MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year award, Finals MVP, and I could go on and on about that, and you guys know the accolades. Why can't they be the faces of the league? I think they're fantastic, fantastic basketball players. And yes, they're recognized, but they're not being called the face of the league. And maybe it's because they don't want to, maybe because the fans or the league doesn't recognize them that way. But I see them as faces of the league. When I think about the NBA today, of course, I think LeBron James. Of course, I think Steph Curry. Of course, I think Kevin Durant. But Giannis Antetokounmpo comes to my mind. Nikola Jokic comes to my mind. How about these other names? Luka Doncic, love Luka. Big fan of Luka. And we're going to see the repercussions of this trade from February 1st for a really long time. Luka is awesome. He's fantastic. He's only 26 years of age. What if he wins the championship this year? What are we going to say? What if he wins the championship next year? What if he turns the tide in the West for the foreseeable future, which he can do? Why can't he be the face of the league? Of course, I already mentioned Anthony Edwards, which we're going to address a little bit more. He's 23 years old. Is the conversation around that he's young and he's just one of those best players right now that potentially will transform the league in the known future? Another name that we will talk about, Jason Tatum. He's also 26. I have SGA, Shea Gilgeous Alexander. Can't say his name right. I'm probably saying it like maybe Chuck or Shaq, but he's only 26. He's leading the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then just a recent name here, Victor Wembanyama. I can't say his name. Wemby, I call him Wemby. He's only 21. And speedy recovery to Wemby as well, since he got shut down for the season. Here are some questions about, are these the criteria? Because the biggest thing is we're going to have a big, long conversation about criteria. What constitutes the greatest of all time? That becomes the question. I think this is something that we really need to talk about, something we need to really consider, because criteria is going to be a big part of the conversation. So I've written some of these things down. There probably is more, there's probably less, but is name recognition a part of the definition of what it means to be the face of the league? If you travel, like a lot of these really great NBA analysts get to do, are they having conversations about LeBron James and Michael Jordan? Are they having conversations about how Steph Curry should be in the GOAT conversation? Are they having conversations about Jason Tatum or Anthony Edwards? Another question that comes to mind, or not another question, another criteria piece is brand. What have they been doing with their brand? Is it the shoes? Is it the commercials? Is it how they present themselves on and off the court? name recognition plays a part of that. What's their presence like? When they come into a room or when they reach a topic of conversation, when they're around their team, who are they? Is it their story? And a lot of storylines are fantastic, especially during this great time in the NBA season leading into the playoffs. Are we talking about accolades? Do you have to accomplish certain things, be on the biggest stage possible to be recognized as the face of the league? What have you accomplished? Personal accomplishments, team accomplishments. And is it also about championships? So, for example, Michael Jordan has name recognition. Michael Jordan has a brand. Michael Jordan has a presence. Michael Jordan has a story. Michael Jordan has the accolades. Michael Jordan has the championships. Face of the league. Kobe Bryant, name recognition, brand, presence, story, accolades, championships. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the Boston Celtics, name recognition, brand, presence, story, accolades, championships. Allen Iverson, name recognition, brand, presence, story, accolades. No championship, but made it to the finals. And people talk about Allen Iverson, how he has transformed the league. Steph Curry, name recognition, brand, presence, story, accolades, championships. Vince Carter, no championships, but has the name recognition, has the brand, has the presence, has the story. Carmelo Anthony, New York Knicks, Tim Duncan, 5 championships with the Spurs. So for me, and this is just me getting dramatic, getting passionate about the game, because I believe this is an important conversation. Yes, sometimes annoying, but very, very important, because this is the story of the NBA. Who is tuned in? Who is the story and the conversations around? And a lot of the times is, your transformational, I forget what the word is, but these generation talented players do make the story. Um, these players who, win championships make the story. Players that don't win championships sometimes make the story. And that's all, part of the whole story situation. I'm using the same words. But think about these current names. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Luka, Ant-Man, Jason Tatum, SGA, Wemby. So if I'm looking at Ant-Man, who a lot of people believe he will be the face of the league or should want to be the face of the league, it's not that he hasn't accomplished anything. He's done great things in the playoffs, and he's one of the most toughest, coolest players on the court. But, are we going to talk about his accolades or his championships? He doesn't have any. What about Jason Tatum? I don't believe he's underappreciated. Maybe we don't talk about him enough. I don't know. You guys can tell me different. He has been to the Eastern Conference Finals 5 times. He has been to the finals, I want to say anywhere between 2 to 3 times. And he is currently part of the reigning NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. Does he have an NBA Finals MVP? No. Does he need one to fit the criteria? Maybe. I have no idea. Jaylen Brown is the most recent Finals MVP, but we're not calling him the best player in the world. And isn't that also part of the conversation? So I'm leaving it to you. What constitutes face of the league, and who would you say will be that or is currently that? Personally, I think LeBron James is still the face of the league. Personally. But I believe there are faces, and for me, I follow the players, and then I try to follow the teams around. There are names that I find really, really important, really recognizable. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry. You might believe that Steph Curry is the GOAT, or he's one of the GOATs, and you may believe that he is the face of the league. 4 NBA championship. There's an MVP or 2 in there somewhere. A Finals MVP. These names are important. These names drive the storyline of the NBA. Who's next? I don't know. It's going to be great to find out. It's going to be great to see. I want the longevity of the game to continue with the athleticism and the fun that this game provides. So that is the question. What constitutes the face of the league and who is the face of the league? And I'm going to leave you now with our Kobe quote of the day. The moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. It's been fun talking basketball with you guys. I love this game. We'll talk more soon. Talk to you later.